Hi, and welcome back to the Film Whisperers on Bent TV, where two movie nerds talk all things movies through a contemporary lens. My name is Matthew Wade.
And I'm Saj.
So we've been looking a little bit at female-led movies, I guess what they mean to us, like the good ones and the bad ones, because they played quite a pivotal role in me growing up and actually falling in love with movies, really. Because a lot of my favourite ones are all the female-led
100%.
films.
Yep, same here.
And so now my favourite part of our discussions comes up where we talk about the WTF films within that calibre. So
Let's just clarify what WTF means.
Well, it's very expansive. It could mean just like a really weird, what the hell was this movie that I just watched? But it could also be something that was a surprising movie. So we might have gone into a movie with a particular set of expectations, and then it subverted them. It surprised you in a good way or a bad way. WTF is quite far-reaching. Yep. It's more just like, you weren't sure what to expect, and then it completely, baffled you, or it subverted your expectations. So I guess, with that in mind, thinking about female-centric or female-led movies, what springs to mind when you think about that?
Right, so this particular film, firstly, it's a sports movie, and so let's just start with that. So when I say sports movie, I don't really like movies about sport. So initially, I just thought, no, it's not going to be good.
Well, I was just about to say, sorry. When people say sports movies, my knee-jerk reaction, which is really bad, is to assume that it's a male one.
Yeah,
because so many sports movies are about men.
Yeah, exactly right. This particular film had a footballer's name in the title.
Okay.
So Bend It Like Beckham.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah,
so I remember when I saw the poster, I thought, oh God, this is going to be just a bunch of people kicking around footballs. I didn't even know it had a female lead. I just thought, just hearing the name, I thought, I'm not going to like it. And then I watched it.
But did you watch it just like, I've got a free day, I'll check it out?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think because it came out when I was in high school, there was a lot of circulation of DVDs that, I don't know, it was a carefree teenager, just, here's a film, let me just watch it.
Right.
It's called Bend It Like Beckham. It's like, okay, right, let's see what, I don't know what to expect, but let's just give it a go. And I absolutely loved it, and that was definitely got all my preconceived ideas wrong, and it was almost a cultural experience to see a story about a girl with an Indian background living in Hounslow in London, whose mum wants her to get married and do the traditional family thing, and how she wants to play football. And it was so empowering, such an important film, and it was my WTF movie. I did not expect it.
Can I ask, because I am not a fan of sport whatsoever.
Yeah.
I know that there are a lot more layers to Bend It Like Beckham than that, but if you don't like sport at all, can you still get quite a lot out of seeing Bend It Like Beckham?
Yeah. I think, I believe it just, as I say, this is the whole cultural experience. And again, I related to that character because she's South Asian like myself, and it's very similar family background. And, the expectation of you being, trying to be academically, you need to get certain grades, you need to be a doctor, you need to be an accountant. I know that that's a stereotype, but in a lot of cases it is true. And I know, just in my family, I don't think I would ever go to my mum and say I want to be a footballer, but if I did, it would be the exact same reaction. It's she would definitely say hell no. And just to see that portrayed on film was something that I could relate to. And I guess I just didn't expect it with a title called Bend It Like Beckham.
Yeah, actually that's kind of nice though. I like some of my favorite movie experiences are when you go to something expecting not to love it, and then actually ends up being this amazing thing. And I'm pretty sure, you'd be able to tell me probably more than I could tell, but Bend It Like Beckham was quite successful, right?
It was really successful. I think it was probably because a film like that hadn't been done before. Because I think the only other film that I can think of that was female-centric in sport was A League of Their Own. But that was a different story. But this touched on the cultural elements of women in sport, and when their backgrounds, South Asian,
I remember even not having, I was aware that it was a really successful, popular movie, but it's kind of almost a shame in a way that, given it was successful, that there hasn't been this proliferation of women in sports movies like that. Maybe I'm not familiar with the genre enough, but I can only think of a small handful since then.
Yeah.
that have been big mainstream movies. Like I remember maybe a few years ago there was the tennis. Was it called Battle of the Sexes or something?
Yes.
But even that was kind of like
Yeah,
it did
it was-
show
yeah.
women in tennis, but it was not only just about them. It had
Yeah.
men as well.
Yeah. This one was, and the two main characters were women. It was Keira Knightley and Parmina Nagra.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah. So what about you, Matt? What would yours be?
As a big horror fan, I guess I've come to, over the last 15 years, to know what all the conventions are. So when I go to a horror movie, I know what to expect most of the time. But one that I saw not too long ago, it was a French horror movie called Revenge. And on the surface, I was like, I know what to expect from this movie. Like, it's about a woman who gets wronged and so she gets revenge. But it ended up being like a really big WTF movie, not only because I actually loved it and it exceeded all my expectations, but also because it subverts that genre. Like when you watch horror revenge movies, they follow such a formulaic kind of trajectory, which I enjoy, but you know what to expect. Whereas with Revenge, this woman, similarly to other ones, starts off the same where she gets wronged, but then it just turns into this big, throw everything at the wall, like nuts movie. Where she becomes almost like this superhuman person who's looking for vengeance, and like she goes through all this stuff that like no one in real life would be able to survive, but somehow she gets out of it, and the way she kind of gets back at the guys who had wronged her, like it's not for everyone, of course. It's quite gory and full on, but I just think it's a really fun movie and a very feminist horror movie. A lot of horror movies don't necessarily portray women in the best way. Like, there's a lot of archetypes they use, like, but this one in particular, it was not like that at all. Like, she was just like this smart, skilled, strong central character. And for me, that was a big WTF movie, mostly because it's like a great midnight movie. Like, if you're getting friends around for like a late night screening, something, that is like the perfect movie because it's fun. It's super over the top. Like, one of the scenes towards the end is literally the apartment that she's in is covered floor, walls in blood.
Oh
like
my
it's
God.
not realistic. Like it's supposed to be like over the top, but because it's over the top, you can have fun with it. Like it's just so ridiculous. But I loved it. I thought it was really, really good. So for me, I guess as a big horror fan, seeing something that was actually felt very fresh, which is rare. It was like a big WTF movie, but also
when did this film come out?
I think it was maybe like 2 years ago. I actually saw it at a horror movie festival in Melbourne. And then I ordered it online because I'm not sure if you can buy it in Australia, but it's just really, really good. And I think part of the reason why it's not only really good but it's also subversive is because the writer and director is a woman. So I think a lot of horror directors are men, and so having like a female-centric horror movie written and directed by a woman, it really shows. Like you can see the difference. Like you can just tell that the way that she's written is just a bit different from other ones, which I'm sure you can recognize too. Like you can tell when there's a female-led movie that's actually been written at the very least by women. It makes all the difference.
Yes, it does. How can someone watch this film? And trust Matt to kind of find this really
like
strange
going in the depths of like, you can probably look it up online. It's a French horror movie called Revenge. You can probably order it online. Maybe you can buy it here too in Australia. I'm not sure, but I definitely recommend it for any horror aficionados, but also anyone that likes kind of like a feminist revenge kind of story. It's just really, really great. And Bender like Beckham, you probably don't need to say where you can get that because I imagine that's everywhere.
Sure, it's on. I'm sure it's on all the viewing apps, the streaming apps. So
I just hope that on the back of the success of it, I know it was quite a while ago now, but I just wish they made more women in sport movies because obviously like it connected with you quite strongly. And I know that was partly because of the cultural significance as well, but it's a shame that hasn't been more of a proliferation of women in sport since then, like in film. Sorry.
Oh, hang on, Ride Like a Girl.
Oh, that's new. That's kind of recent. I haven't seen it.
Exactly. And then either, but that's apparently that's doing really well.
That's true, actually.
Yeah,
so there's still hope yet.
Yeah, there's hope.
Fortunately, that's all we have time for today. But thanks for joining me as always, Saj, and thanks for joining us at home. We're the Film Whisperers, and you've been watching Bent TV.